My research is about lean construction, which is based in construction management or construction project management. As my research just started in January, I did not have yet a lot of data to present basically the work what I've done. So I choose to use this opportunity to introduce to you why we should identify improvement areas in construction projects and how lean construction, which is my PhD-related topic, can help us with that, as this is often, even in the construction industry, very difficult to introduce to the people. Therefore, to me, as mentioned, I'm since January this year in Liverpool. I'm originally from Germany. My hometown is close to Stuttgart, somebody might know. And in the past, before I became a PhD researcher, I was a project manager on the client side in construction projects. My agenda today is I would like to introduce to you why we have to identify improvement areas in the construction projects, how lean construction, my PhD topic, could help us with that, and basically at the end, what can we expect from lean construction. So let us look at the why. The construction industry is outside in the world often recognized as an industry which is not very profitable. This is a standard case. We have a lot of problems which are commonly referred to us in journals, in newspapers, on the web, on the telly, in any news. So most common problems are in the construction industry that we have a lack of quality. When we walk through buildings, even if we are not related to construction, we as individuals, we identify quality problems of a building which is related to a construction project. Then construction projects have to face a lack of profitability and an increasing rework in the industry. Schedules of projects often missed. I'm sure in the LJMU are some construction projects, they're not finished on time. The whole work environment compared to other industries doesn't increase the last 20 years. If we're looking to electronic industry, if we're looking to manufacturing industries, they increase their profitability from 20 up to 80%. The construction industry is still on the same profitability from the work environment as for 20 years ago. So we have definitely a lack of profitability in our work environment. But the construction industry itself is an industry with a lot of innovation. When we're looking outside how construction itself is done today, or even the design with CAD on the computer, compared to the past that we made with pencils our drawings, this is quite an innovative industry what we have done there. But the problem is, if we change the technology, we should change also the relations around the technology. And this is basically a problem what is not really good solved in construction projects today. Overall, projects run often over budget, and projects are too inefficient and too expensive. But to be honest with you, these are not problems, these are just consequences. The root cause of these consequences lies somewhere else. We cannot fix it if we're looking only on the consequences, we have to go down. And to go down to the root cause, lean construction is identified 20 years ago from researchers to be the part in the construction industry to help us to find these root causes. Let me introduce to you how this is going to work. Lean, it doesn't matter in which industry we use it, lean itself have one key factor, and this is customer value. Lean construction uses this key factor as well. If we identify customer value, which means it's the value what the customer is willing to pay for. He's not willing to pay for late projects. He's not willing to pay for that we have problems in the building or that we have rework to do, corrections. So it's the real value what the customer wants to pay for it. Let me do a short experiment how difficult it is to identify the real customer value. You all see this text marker in the middle of my slide. What color do you see? Feel free to respond. Red? Okay. Do we all agree that we see red? The main color of the text marker is red. Great. What first comes in your mind when you see red? Sorry?
Negative.
Negative, okay. Any other things?
Stop.
Okay. More?
Alert.
Yeah?
Danger.
Yeah? I often get Liverpool FC in my mind when I see red. Okay, but we have different things. And this is the problem. Even when we see and agree the same thing, we all saw red, we agreed that it's red, but we all have different, perceive it different in our mind. And with customers, as it the same. And other industry identified this with lean, and the construction industry have to identify this in future as well, more than in the past. Every customer value is unique. When I want to deliver a building to customer A, and he defines the value, what he is looking for, I deliver it, he might be happy. Customer B, he's not happy because he has other types of values. Therefore, we have to identify each customer value for each project new, and we need for this a systemic thinking to identify these issues. Well, if we are able to identify the customer value, which is basically done outside in practice with a lot of meetings, be very sensible with the customer, talk to him, make notes to identify what he really wants. Then we are able to identify where are the improvement areas. And lean therefore helps us that lean says, if we know customer value, we can look to the processes in a form of a helicopter perspective, and I divide each process into 3 activities. We have in each process activities that they direct add value to the customer. For instance, someone comes to me and want to have a cup of tea. I produce the cup of tea. The producing process of the cup of tea or the activities to do this cup of tea directly, put the water into the cup and so on, that's our value-added activities. But when I'm walking around because my kettle is there and the cup is there, these are not value-added activities. So the person who visits me and pay for the cup won't pay for this walking. Basically, the other one is we have some non-value-added activities in each process. It doesn't matter in which industry we are. We would say, no, this is not a value-adding. For instance, we transport something to the site. We have a lot of transportation in construction. We transport material to site. This is basically not value-adding because nobody from us would pay for that. But we can't produce value when we build a building when we do not transport the materials to the site. So therefore, these activities are non-value added, but necessary for other activities, the value-added activities. And the third part of activities what we have in each process are waste. These are activities we really not need. The walking from the cup to the kettle is not necessary. Why I didn't put my cup directly next to the kettle that I don't have to work? There's no reason why I should not do this. And in construction, this works in the same manner. We have the biggest waste in construction is identified as waiting. In construction projects, we wait for decisions. It doesn't matter from the trade, from the architects, or from the client. We wait for material, we wait for trades, and so on. Another one is correction, as mentioned. If we build something which is not in this specific condition what the customer likes, what is the customer value. For instance, a door which is painted blue and the customer wants it white, and we build it and install it in the building like that, we have to correct it, we have to do rework. As well, transportation, as mentioned, is a big waste in the construction industry, as often is, which goes hand in hand with inventory. Often we transport too much material to site, we have to store it, we have to pay for the storing, which is waste, because we don't have to do it. If we would estimate the amount on material right, we wouldn't have to inventory it. And then at the end of the day, we have to transport it back. So twice as waste. This goes on and on through all things. So therefore, if we are able to identify customer value, typify each process into 3 activities, non-value adding, value adding, and waste, we are able to improve the processes. Because if we know which activities are waste, then we will find definitely a way how to eliminate this or how to reduce it. Transfer this now to a construction project. If I divided a construction project here into 4 different types of cost, We have first of all the planning and feasibility costs of a construction project, then the architectural and engineering design cost of a construction project, the construction, material, equipment and labor cost of a construction project, and of course, every trade in this project wants to have some money, so we have as well the profit from each trade together. And these are the costs, and as we saw it, at the beginning, the costs of the profitability of a construction project is one of the main consequences. Now, we identified customer value, we look from a helicopter perspective to the processes, we identify the 3 types of activity, we identify some waste in each of these packages. Then we sit down, do a plan, do, act, check, or everything. It doesn't matter. It's very logical. If you have the waste, it's very logical to improve it. Then we will eliminate or reduce this waste. We end up and have a construction project with a lower overall cost and even the same or better quality, as we don't have to correct something. We will have a door which have from the first beginning on the right color and not 2 colors. And at the end, everyone is profitable about it, and a construction project would be profitable. But this is just an abstract to one of the issues. Lean can help us in all the other issues as well, in basically the same manner. What is lean construction now about? There is no agreed definition of lean construction out there. And the industry and even the researcher community about lean construction is not in one direction and says, well, we can define it, or even they don't want to define it. Basically, there are 2 very good descriptions from the literature and from the researchers out there which put it in a good manner to explain it. The first one is Gregory Howell. He is an experienced practitioner. He started a PhD, he stopped it, but he is working since 20 years on this issue, and he sees lean construction as a new way to see, understand and act in the construction world, which captures, from my point of view, very good. If you're in a helicopter perspective and have these issues with customer value in your mind, you can act very logically and will improve the construction project. Another description is that lean construction is a way to design production system, which means the construction on site, to minimize waste of materials, time and effort in order to generate the maximum possible amount of value, of course, for the customer. Therefore, lean construction allows us in the construction industry to deliver what the customer really wants. And this is a goal what every other industry have as well. If you're looking to Apple, Apple wants also to deliver what we really want. And even the university wants to deliver what the students want. This is a logical issue, and lean construction can help us for this. In construction, it looks different. It might be something to learn, like in university, a house to live, a shop where we want to go to shop, or somewhere else. And at the end, lean construction provides us customer value through a powerful new paradigm. And this focusing on the organization when we do construction projects, on the commercial terms, for the costs and the profitability, and as well on the operating system. Let me summarize what I think is important about this, what you should get out of it. Lean itself is a philosophy. It doesn't matter what is written about it. There are a lot of tools out there, but the tools are not lean. It's the philosophy behind the tools. If we add to this philosophy adequate thinking and have understanding for customer value, then it helps organizations in all manners to choose the right processes and the right tools, and then we get closer to operational excellence. And therefore, this is lean construction, what I do in my research. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Just 2 observations from me. One is that obviously a lean approach, as you've described it, can be applied to almost anything and everything we do.
Correct.
Construction is just different from other things. But the philosophy or the approach is quite clear. But it also strikes me that in the model you described there, that customer value is directly going to be related to customer expectation. And managing the level of expectation is key, and as part of that, it's the use of language by customer and provider is absolutely paramount. And very often these are two groups of people who speak in different languages where the terminology and expectations are subtly different in some cases and significantly different in others.
Yes.
And therefore they think they're going to get that. Actually, what you're proposing is that.
Yes.
And that must be a huge part of the whole process.
It's not only the language between the construction project organization and the customer. This is the main focus. The next thing is that we have also different languages between the project manager and the architect, between the architect and the trades, between the trades and the subcontractor and main contractor and so on. So there are, it's basically a long list which all acting with different languages. It's definitely true that the language and the terminology make a huge difference. But I did not yet observe any research which is really related about the language. I think the language's terminology problem is a problem which the construction industry always had. When we look back to the Egypt, when they built their pyramids, they had a really good project management, but I'm sure they had terminology problems between the pharaoh and the project manager. So I'm not sure, it's a point, but I'm not sure if this is the solution. Lean construction itself focuses more or less to say, well, okay, we have to focus on customer value and we have to see it unique and we have to put a scientific thinking and systemic thinking into this, which means I worked in construction projects and I worked in an office which was called one of the best project management office in this area. But what I saw that, well, these guys are not so brilliant as they are really think, because they did not listen to listen too much or so much to the customer what he's really saying, or they even not have project management have tools for every kind of thing, for every reason to capture data. But there is no tool what the project management uses to focus on customer value. And the only thing is what they say, well, it's logical. Every conversation I get the feeling, but I have to write it down in a scientific way, gather each data from every meeting with the customer, and then see how the customer is changing his mind. And then I can acting. And basically lean construction try this. And what it's also it tries to bring the project organization together, to be more collaborative with each other, which means the architects did not fight so much with the project manager, both did not fight so much with the contractors. So bring them all together, because if you have an organization which is also independent from each industry, an organization which have one goal and is sticking together is more productive than an organization which each department looks for their own interest.
Yeah. But I'm sure if you manage the expectations of the customer, you'll probably improve the perception of value.
Yeah. Both goes in both hands, yeah.
Are there any further questions? Oh gosh.
Claus, when I was, as you go through your presentation, the thing that kept coming up in my mind is, how does this differ from basic principles of business and economics? And so my question is, are those models driving your research, and do you consider them, or are they something?
Yeah, it's a good thing. What I'm looking in my research basically is I'm trying to find out how I could measure the maturity in doing and using lean construction effectively and understand it right. As there's an understanding, or we have an educational problem, or I think in worldwide it's about less than 10 universities, they have a lecture about lean construction. So which means we have out there not educated people, they knew about these things and have it in mind to listen more to the customer. So my thing is I conducted some interviews, and now I'm conducting focus groups to discuss with practitioners. They have years of experience in projects and using this methodology or this philosophy underneath to find out which are the areas, the factors, what I can identify that an organization is more mature than another organization in doing and using this. And this should be able to measure the maturity of an organization in terms of lean construction. And there is another goal that also I should measure it within the construction or within the project phase and not at the end. Because at the end, I'm sure, of course, I can measure, was the project profitable, was the project finished on time or not. These are factors, but at the end of the day, I'm sure that the project can be using lean construction philosophy quite efficient and understand it right. But still the project is not as profitable and efficient as it should be, because there are so many factors for construction projects.
Time for maybe one or two more very quick questions.
Having worked with Jaguar Land Rover at Halewood in their manufacturing operations, one of the most significant things that they had to change was the culture throughout the whole organisation,
Exactly.
top to bottom. I don't understand how you can do that in the construction industry, having worked on building sites and worked with architects, because there's so transient workforce changing all the time.
It's actually quite easy, as the most projects where lean construction is adopted is when the client, and he's first of all, or the customer is first of all the person who pays all of the stakeholders in the project. He says, well, guys, I want to do this project. I have 7 million for this project. You will do it. You have to do lean. He's the person who pushes it from top to the bottom down. And basically, the companies in the US is most successful with lean construction here, and even South America. It works like that. The client just says, well, I see my own profit on this because my project is finished on schedule, might be under budget. And there are reported project case studies in the US that lean construction projects finished under 45% budget against market. And this is a huge profit what they saved with these projects. So the clients get very convinced to want this. So basically, everyone who wants to have a job in the future in the construction industry will get pushed to do it. And when you get pushed to do it, then the companies and organizations find ways how to change the culture. But without the push, everyone says, I had this issue in a project by myself from a project management point of view. If you ask someone to do something different, he will tell you, or if you ask him why he is doing like that, he says, well, I do it always like that. There's no reason for me to change. That's true, it's a problem, but it's a standard problem, but every industry had to do, and the construction industry will have the same problems than the other ones.
Okay, I think we'll have to wrap up there if that's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Klaus. Thank you.